So you want to know how to set up a home gym in a small space. I'm going to provide you with the complete beginner's guide to building your own home gym, walking you through the entire process from start to finish. By the end of this video, you should be able to choose the equipment you need for your goals with ease, at the best price, and get it shipped to your house as soon as possible. You'll never have to miss out on getting in amazing workouts ever again. Watch until the end of the video, because I'm going to share with you my secret to getting equipment before everyone else does. I'm Dr. Ram, physician, bodybuilder, and founder and head coach at Ram Wellness, where we help busy professionals like you upgrade how you feel, look, and perform for life. Hit that subscribe button for more workout tutorials, nutrition tips, and success mindset hacks. But hey, you're here to learn how to set up a home gym in a small space, so let's get started. Careful planning is key to building a home gym successfully. Here are the three main principles we're going by. Number one, only buy equipment you absolutely need for your goals and that serve as many purposes as possible. A machine that specializes in one body part alone is not a smart investment or use of space. A machine that can be used for many body parts, on the other hand, is a wise investment and use of space. Principle number two, only spend the bare minimum you need to spend. And principle number three, choose safety, durability, and reliability over everything else. You want equipment that is safe and won't need constant repairs. Keeping these principles in mind, it's time to get right to work. Choose a space that maximizes floor space and ceiling height and does not disrupt the people you live with or the people around you. Space is important for safety so that you can exercise freely without worrying about tripping over something or damaging your house. If you're living above or next door to someone else, you want to choose a space that is going to minimize noise. For example, if you're living on the second floor of a building, dropping a barbell on the floor during deadlifts is going to make the people living below you really upset. It can also cause damage to your flooring and to anything at risk of falling from their ceilings, walls, or shelves. If you're living above someone else, deadlifts probably won't be a go-to exercise for you. You can consider doing those outside, in a parking garage, or even a park. It just depends on how determined you are to get it done, right? Keep an open mind. Your home gym doesn't have to be in a garage or a basement. It may seem ridiculous at first, but some people have equipment set up in their bedrooms, their living rooms, and even their kitchens. They're getting in their workouts and making gains while everyone else is stuck in analysis paralysis. So prioritize what you really want. Make a list of all possible spaces, even if you don't think they're ideal. We have a system we're using here. First, we need to consider our options. Then, we're going to collect basic data. Measure all the spaces you've chosen, including ceiling height. Don't estimate. Use an actual tape measure so you don't end up ordering equipment that doesn't fit. Determine effective space. If there's a door, electrical appliance, furniture, etc., you need to take this into consideration. For reasons of fire safety, check with your local fire regulations about how much clearance you need around doors, windows, and electrical appliances like your circuit breaker. Choose a space that is practical and treat this as a mid to long-term solution. You don't want to have to worry about breaking things or disrupting your everyday life, like eliminating a kitchen table that you and your family need to eat at. Once you have the measurements down on paper and determine effective space, ideally you want to choose maximal effective space. This will give you more flexibility when it comes to choosing and arranging your equipment. Now that you've systematically chosen a space, it's time to start planning out your layout. This will allow you to visualize your setup and optimize space efficiency. Planning your layout is extremely important and takes some playing around with different configurations, depending on how much equipment, as well as the size and shape of the equipment, relative to the size and shape of the space you've chosen. Luckily, there are free tools that you can use to make this process a lot easier than doing it in your head or drawing it out on paper. Let's take a look at a tool I used to design my garage gym. The link to this tool is in the description, and I highly recommend using it or any other free tool to help you plan your layout, regardless of how minimalist or extensive you want your home gym to be. We're going to start by selecting Launch Gym Planner. Select Login if you want to create a free account. Creating a free account will allow you to save your layout, so you can return to it later if you want to make changes. First, start by entering the dimensions of your layout. This will be the framework you have to work with when deciding what equipment will fit into your space. You can quickly and easily get familiar with the tools available in the software that allow you to add structural elements like walls, windows, and doors, and even beds, stairs, and TVs. The objective is to have a clear visual sense of space available. Now, depending on the surface you're working with, whether it's concrete as in a basement or garage, or hardwood floor, tile, or carpet, I highly recommend some sort of cushioning and protection for your floor. If your space is in a well-ventilated area, the most cost-effective option that will protect your floors is Horstall mats, which can be purchased from your local Tractor Supply store. Now, the reason I emphasize that these be used in a well-ventilated area is because they're made of rubber and will initially have a high smell. The smell goes away after a while if you ventilate the area. If your area is not well ventilated, opt for a 3/4 inch thick interlocking tile that allows you to shape the mat to your space without having to do a lot of cutting, if any at all. I do not recommend using gymnastic mats. You want mats that will not move around when you're exercising so you don't run the risk of slipping and falling. I also don't recommend using very soft materials like the ones you see in wrestling or mixed martial arts studios that will make balancing harder and increase your risk of injury. I recommend getting your mats in before getting your equipment in when possible, so you don't have to move your equipment out of the way in order to install your mats. Trust me, you don't want to be doing this, and in most cases, it's completely unnecessary to have to do things out of order. Do it once and do it right. Now that we have our general layout and flooring, we can start deciding on what equipment we need according to our goals, space, and budget. First, decide what your goals are. Assuming you're a beginner with, say, 1 year or less of experience with weight training and no sport-specific goals, your goal is simply to build muscle, get stronger, and reduce your body fat level. Pretty straightforward. So what equipment do you need to accomplish these goals? Let's start with setup number 1. At the very minimum, I recommend getting a utility bench and some dumbbells. This combination will provide the most versatility in terms of variety and variation of exercises you can perform. Having an adjustable utility bench is preferable since it will allow you to change the angle of the bench and therefore the number of exercises you can do on it, including chest, shoulder, back, biceps, and triceps exercises. Dumbbells can be expensive, especially right now when a lot of companies and individual sellers have raised their prices significantly. Stick around until the end of the video to find out how I got around this. If you're getting great value from this information so far, smash that like button and tell YouTube I'm doing good by awesome viewers like you. Whenever possible, buy dumbbells as a set. Buying individual dumbbells or pairs will cost you more. Bonus tip, whenever possible, buy all of your equipment at the same time, especially if you can buy it all from the same manufacturer or retailer. This will save you a lot of money on shipping costs, which tend to be high when freight shipping is involved and depending on how far it has to be shipped. A dumbbell rack is a great addition to keep weights organized and off the floor. If you want to save space and money, depending on the amount of weight you need, Power Block dumbbells are a great option. You get 5 to 50 pound dumbbells in each dumbbell. Simply choose your weight with a pin and bam, you're ready to go. Certain models are also expandable to 90 pounds all the way up to 175 pounds. I recommend buying these directly from the Power Block company on their website or from a well-known retailer like Rogue or Reb Fitness. I don't recommend buying them used on Craigslist, eBay, or Facebook Marketplace unless they're being sold at a reasonable price. I haven't found that to be the case as people are doing some serious price gouging right now. Certain Power Block dumbbells have been out of stock for a while. Other models are on back order. You can check out their website for more information. If this seems to be the right option for your budget and space, and they're out of stock or on back order, putting your name on their list to receive email notifications will save you the hassle of checking their website over and over again. This applies for any equipment that is out of stock. Get on their email lists. As soon as you get a notification, buy it immediately. Do not wait. I've had items sell out within 10 minutes of receiving a notification that they've been restocked. Adding a set of bands of varying resistances to the setup will take you far. Adding bands to dumbbell exercises will make them even more challenging and starts pushing your workouts from the beginner to the intermediate level. You can work every body part in multiple ways and smash your goals using this setup alone. If you outgrow your dumbbells on certain exercises, you can always get heavier dumbbells and keep growing and getting stronger until you outgrow those. Just rinse and repeat. If you want more variety and have the space to take your setup to the next level, we now enter the land of barbells, plates, and racks with setup number 2. This addition will significantly increase the total cost of your setup, but with that added investment comes greater gains. The barbell allows you to perform compound movements requiring large muscle groups to perform them, like the squat, deadlift, bench press, and shoulder press. Compound movements also allow you to lift more weight and thus overload your muscles even more to promote more gains in size and strength. But the variety and variation of exercises don't stop there. You've also effectively added shrugs, curls, close grip bench press, Bulgarian split squats, bent over rows, landmine presses, and many more exercises to your arsenal. If that's not enough, you can add bands to your exercises where you now enter expert level territory. Just painting a picture of a future filled with gains right from your home. A standard multi-purpose barbell is all you need. You're looking for a 28.5 millimeter barbell that weighs 45 pounds or 20 kg. Keep it simple and reliable. With barbells, as with most things, you get what you pay for. Your average multi-purpose barbell runs between $100 to $200. I wouldn't recommend spending more than $400 on a barbell unless you're a more advanced lifter and you have significant experience with squats, deadlifts, and bench press. You will need plates. I recommend round steel plates instead of hex plates. Round steel plates tend to be less expensive than urethane or rubberized hex plates. Round steel plates also prevent the weights from rolling out of place when you're doing exercises like deadlifts that require you to put the weight back on the ground between each rep. 4 to 6 45-pound plates, 2 25-pound plates, 4 10-pound plates, and 2 5-pound plates is just about all you'll need for a while. Without a bar, this provides a total of 285 pounds to 375 pounds, and with the bar, 330 pounds to 420 pounds respectively. For most, including me, that's more than enough. Of course, you'll need a rack for exercises like bench press and shoulder press. As a beginner, I would recommend getting a half rack, which is exactly as it sounds. Instead of getting a full rack, which involves 4 upright beams connected to form a cage, a half rack involves 2 upright beams. It takes up less space and it's at least half the price of a full rack. An added benefit of having a rack, whether it's a full or a half rack, is that you can usually do pull-ups on the crossbar. There are also many attachments that can be bolted right on your rack, like a dip bar, that further increases the versatility of your rack. Since it is a half rack, I recommend getting safety spotter arms. Whereas a full rack offers safety pins on which you can drop the bar during a failed lift, a half rack offers spotter arms for the same purpose. They can be adjusted up and down the uprights for the desired height. Some half racks come with them, some don't. Spotter arms are not optional. If you're getting a half rack, you have to get the spotter arms. Safety is always number one when it comes to training. If you're injured or dead, you can't train or make them gains. A perfectly suitable alternative to a free weight barbell setup, like the one we just went through, is a Smith machine and of course plates. A Smith machine is basically the same setup as a half rack, but the bar is attached to the machine and moves up and down along guide rails. This keeps the bar moving in a fixed plane up and down and almost completely eliminates the requirement for you to stabilize the bar. Some Smith machines have a counterbalance feature that makes the bar lighter or almost weightless. Other Smith machines are not counterbalanced, in which case you're lifting the full weight of the bar. I recommend getting the latter, in which the bar is not counterbalanced, so you won't need to add as much weight to the bar, and because it tends to be slightly more cost effective. Just a matter of personal preference. Smith machines also include their unique safety features that allow you to re-rack the bar at almost any height in case of a failed lift, as well as safety pins that catch the bar in the event that the bar slips. This is a huge benefit that, for purposes of building muscle and strength, makes the Smith machine an attractive option regardless of your experience level. If you're going the Smith machine route, I also highly recommend getting a model that has vertical rails. This allows the bar to move straight up and down instead of at an angle. A lot of newer Smith machines have an angled bar path, which I found to not only be awkward for certain exercises, but also places undue stress on my joints, including my lower back, on exercises like squats. Some Smith machines are much larger than others. Depending on the space available to you, you'll have to take this into consideration. When deciding on space availability, it's important to factor in the width of the bar as well as space for you to physically get in there to load and unload weights. You also want room on both sides of the bar so you have some room to move side to side without smashing into the wall or knocking things over. If you don't have at least 9 feet of width to accommodate a rack with a barbell or a Smith machine, this will not be a viable option for you. If a rack or Smith machine does fit into your space, as a rule of thumb, I recommend placing taller pieces of equipment against walls for support, at least if the rack were to tip backwards, and to give the space a more open feel than if you were to place the rack in the middle of the room. Some of you will prefer to set your rack in the middle of the room, and some of you will have no other choice. That's perfectly fine. Always remember, safety first. Anchoring your rack to the ground with bolts is an option for certain surfaces and for certain racks. The half rack that I got does not require you to bolt it down, and that's usually what I look for when I choose equipment. So far, we've covered a more minimalist option with setup number 1, with the bench, dumbbell, and bands option that will give you a wide variety and variation of exercises that will absolutely suffice when it comes to reaching your goals. We then took it to the next level with setup number 2 by adding in a barbell with a half rack or Smith machine and plates. This option is going to allow you to perform both compound and isolation exercises to overload your muscles even more. Most of you are going to stop here, and honestly, that's all you need for years to come. But if you still have more space to kill and you're determined to go all in with your setup, it's time to talk about setup number 3, where we enter the territory of the cable machines. I present the functional trainer. The functional trainer is basically a cable machine that provides resistance in every plane of motion. The cable and pulley design gives this machine extremely high versatility, as well as some added benefits over free weights. Without getting too much into physics and physiology, the cable machine maintains constant tension in your muscle throughout the entire range of motion, whereas with free weights, the tension decreases after a certain point. This simply means that the cable machine will challenge your muscle throughout the entire range of motion for further development. Functional trainers are ideal for isolation movements for the chest and back, as well as for smaller muscle groups like the biceps, triceps, and shoulder muscles. They can be used to some degree for the lower body exercises, although I wouldn't count this as their primary purpose. Functional trainers tend to be expensive, ranging from $1,500 at the lower end of the spectrum all the way up to $5,000 plus. Plate-loaded functional trainers that are required to load plates onto the machine to increase weight tend to be less expensive. Selectorized machines, on the other hand, come with weight stacks and use a pin to select the desired weight. They are much more expensive and much heavier. This is why carefully planning your gym is extremely important. A selectorized functional trainer is no easy task to set up. And when it is set up, it might as well be a permanent part of your house, because it ain't moving after it's built. This is not necessary for most of you who are just trying to get and stay in shape at home in a limited space. But for those of you who live in the gym or whose job depends on staying in shape and training clients, as is the case with me, adding a functional trainer to your arsenal will definitely make your gym more well-rounded and functional. From here, if you still want more, what you can do with your gym is basically up to your space, budget, and imagination. I opted to get a lat pull-down machine, a leg extension leg curl machine, a leg press, and both the half rack and Smith machine. This is absolutely overkill for most people and not necessary at all to build impressive muscle and strength. No matter how much equipment you have, it's the quality and consistency of your training, nutrition, and recovery over time that will ultimately determine your results. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you by sharing my personal secret for getting equipment before everyone else does. I already kind of gave you part of the secret, and that was to get on mailing lists so you get notified immediately when items you want are restocked. I can't stress this enough, that you need to be on those lists and you need to respond fast once you get the notification. If it feels like a scramble, that's because it is one, and the early bird catches the worm. The next part of my secret to getting my hands on equipment is to look for deals on Facebook Marketplace. Do your research on the seller and make sure you're minimizing your risk as much as possible. Ask the questions you need to ask about the equipment, what the dimensions are, how old it is, what condition it's in, what damage there is, what needs to be fixed, if there's an existing warranty, and if it comes with installation instructions. If you require delivery, you need to find out if delivery is included in the price, and if not, what the cost of delivery will be. If you're picking it up, you need to arrange for pickup, which entails getting an appropriate size truck and helping hands to get the equipment on and off the truck. Get everything in writing and get an itemized invoice. You have to be very careful with buying used equipment and who you do business with. If you can buy new, I highly recommend buying new. If you want to save potentially hundreds to thousands of dollars, you have to do your homework and put in your due diligence. Buy used at your own risk. And finally, my biggest secret has been ordering directly from manufacturers. Most of my equipment is from Rogue Fitness, and most of my free weights are from Iron Company. They've been extremely reliable so far. Their equipment is top-notch in terms of build quality, reliability, and ease of setup, and they have great customer service. Rogue is very popular, and a lot of their items are currently out of stock. Not as many people have probably heard of Iron Company. They have more than just free weights, so if you plan to order your weights from them, consider buying other equipment as well to save on shipping costs. When I purchased their free weights and attachments for my functional trainer, shipping was included, which saved me hundreds of dollars. I'm not currently sponsored by either of these companies, so I don't get anything by recommending them to you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this beginner's guide on how to set up a home gym in a small space. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below for more videos like this. Remember always, aim for exceptional, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.